Yep, well, they're thinking about it right now. Both AD carries, in terms of the big two of Aphelios and Jinx, are available. WE take that Gwen into the top side. However, you were talking about this yesterday on the broadcast as well, and you don't feel like this is as blind pickable as it used to be. You feel like there's a couple of answers to this now in the meta.
Yeah, I mean, even things like the Nard, the Akali, there's a ton there, especially when you're going against Zika, right? Like, this guy loves to get the counter picks. That can work out super well for them. I'm pretty sure I've even seen the Tryndamere do pretty well, which is kind of a big pick for Zika. So now you have the option to kind of take a Tryndamere, Nard, Akali for Zika on this third pick, and you're in an option where Mole once more can take a counter pick in the mid lane. So pretty nice draft on red side here for IG, with W taking that top laner. And for WE, I mean, this isn't overly surprising, right? Aphelios into the Jinx is perfect. VIego, we've seen come out a lot into things like the Xin Zhao. And I kind of give the favor towards the Xin Zhao. I think he just has more opportunities in the early stages. But if this VIego can hit those late game fights, WE looking pretty terrified.
And then Mole locking in the Ahri. This has been a very powerful pick these days, and we should see now quite a few bans going in towards that mid lane coming out here from IG. I would imagine WE banning away top side picks as they want to try and get that Gwen as much of a good matchup as possible. But it's interesting to see, like you said, they are going to be able to get themselves the mid lane priority, but they are still waiting to see where they want to round out their comp in terms of where that top lane pick is going to go.
Yeah, it definitely feels to me like IG are going to set up for some sort of here. You've already got Ahri, who's super good at getting priority in that mid lane and looking to roam to affect side lanes. And it feels like a lot of that is going to revolve around Zika. You're now, as you say, banning away those counter picks, the LeBlanc and the Vex that can match some of the push that she has. So I'm expecting IG to go towards like the Tryndameres, the Akalis, the Jaxes as well that we've seen. Hell, even a Camille wouldn't be the worst in that top side. Although it does struggle a little bit against the Gwen. But you've got a ton of options here for IG. On WE, I really need to see them get some sort of engage in their back pocket here, though. Like, you want something that's going to be like a Nautilus, a Leona, something to set these fights up, because right now, you just don't have that.
Yeah, you do not really have any strong engage to either set up or follow in with the Xin Zhao, as you mentioned. Yes, you got good pick potential with the Ahri, but you do like to have that big hard engage, especially when dealing with things like the Gwen or the VIego, just things that can stop them from running onto the backside. As IG now looking towards maybe going in for that Tryndamere. This is something that Zika has been very, very comfortable on that top side, has gotten multiple solo kills with it, and this time around, to the delight of everybody who's an IG fan, he's not picking it into a poppy.
Yeah, he's not picking it blind. Who would have thunk it? As LNG also found out, blind Tryndamere is a bad idea. But yeah, I mean, shocked Pikachu. I mean, I think everyone kind of saw this coming. Zika going to take the Tryndamere topside. You're in good spot. Shie going to be getting his hands on the Akali. Just kind of saying, hey, look, fend for yourselves in side lanes, boys. I'm just going to see if I can farm towards a later portion of the game. And then be a menace for people who like the Jinx and team fights. But it will give full mid priority to the mid jungle of IG. Or you can just look to take over the map. So for WE, we said we wanted to see engage. Alistair has been a good answer to if you want to go for the Nautilus. Leona also a good answer, and looks like it's going to go towards the Leona.
Yeah, and they're going to have the last pick now for the side of IG. We did see them hovering the Nautilus, but decided to wait to the very last chance to see what they wanted to kind of go for right now. And honestly, looking at the kind of style now, you are still lacking a little bit in that engage front from IG. So I was just about to say, I wouldn't mind to see the Nautilus coming out here for Lucas. Just something that can combo in with the Xin Zhao and also just set up success for this Jinx and Tryndamere to run rampant.
Yeah, I mean, for IG, I feel like they're going to be avoiding a lot of those fights. I think it is just going to be a case of, hey, look, let's get Zika pushed off into a side lane. Let's get Mole who's able to roam and set up this Tryndamere. And it'll be more about the 1-4 push for IG, which is something that we saw a lot in Anyone's Legend. Like, the opportunity to play towards that. I just felt like IG really fumbled the ball on it. So we'll get a better idea here if they are able to play through that style. It definitely feels like they've got the tools to get the ball rolling for them in the early stages, though. Just strong mid jungle, good push boss, controlling top side. Like, I mean, IG kind of, like, all far and away with the draft.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair statement to say. We'll see now if BiuBiu is able to make anything happen with this first priority Gwen, but like you said, a lot of answers to it, a lot of ways of getting, around it or working around it in terms of making sure it doesn't have that big of an impact. I will say there is some pretty damn decent scaling for WE. If they can get to those 2.5 item points, they should be able to put up a pretty decent threat against a lot of what IG is fronting up. But it is still a very difficult game. I feel like IG have the much easier to execute composition versus WE, who are looking to try and capitalize on a couple of maybe even missteps or mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, for WE, it is very much about scaling. As you say, like, you don't win mid push, you don't win bot push, and you're going to get a ton of attention up towards this top side. And this is why I'm not the biggest fan of the VIego in the current meta. It feels like you just don't offer enough in the skirmishes in the early stages, and that's where a lot of junglers are kind of outshining you with, like, Jarvans who can gank early, Lee Sins who can control early, and even Xin Zhao, as we see, Volley Bear as well. Like, all these champions just do so much in the early stages, and VIego kind of just gets left in the dust. And I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I know his global win rate kind of reflects that as well. So we have to see if Beishang can kind of right those wrongs here and try and control the early stages of the game to allow WE to get to that late point. It just doesn't feel like WE have the tools to kind of combat what IG have, though.
Yeah, I just feel a little bit opportunistic, shall we say, for the side of WE. Sorry, I'm currently looking up the win rates. 49% globally, including all regions. Let me look at the top regions. Let me look at that in top regions and see if we got there. So 49% still. So
okay,
it is still pretty damn good for a lot of them. So again, he's right down the middle, but like you said, he is still very situational. Sorry, he's 45%. I didn't refresh. I was looking at the wrong column. But it's still pretty good, but he's still very much on the losing side. He's not considered busted OP, put it that way.
Yeah, especially when you look at Jinx, I think it was like a 58% win rate or something like that. So yeah, on the grand scale of things, VIego kind of a little bit lacking. But again, I just feel like in this situation, you've got so many options here as IG is how you want to orchestrate the game. I'd love to see like some early pressure from Mole towards Xie with Shun. Just to be like, look, we're just going to play through the mid. You can already see Xie struggling here. Mole set up a slow push. So there's two options you can go for here. Either you look for some sort of 3-camp clear into bot side for IG off of Shun, and maybe you can look for a dive, especially with these heavy trades for going in favor of IG. Trying to get Mole out of the mid lane early just seems like a really good shout.
Yeah, Mogul from the kill as well. Not going for TP. Has got Ignite with him there and let the electrocute as well. Pretty Spog standard, but see what he's able to do now in this mid lane as he goes up against the Doran shield of Xie. And like you said, IG pretty much have winning top, winning mid. They're going to be able to push in these waves, and they're going to be able to get themselves opened up. And it's all about how they use those opportunity costs to make advantages for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to see IG out in all intents and purposes body WE. You've got the best way to do this. Like, this is where I need a confident win from IG, and you have everything falling into your lap in this draft, so we need to see how they're going to be able to do it. Nice idea here from Shun as well, just to get into the face of Beishang. Knows he's got mid priority there from Mole, so Beishang has to run away.
I mean, Beishang is going to try and fight this. He has got the red buff versus only the blue of the Xin Zhao, but Beishang, he's trying to go in. He gets the smite down. It was actually all a bait. He gets the smite down, but he's not able to keep himself alive. Double buff transfer confirmed. Mole will pay back the kill.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Shun there. I mean, I think he had smite up and available. Maybe it just wasn't quite off cooldown, but should have been able to smite the exact same wolf that Beishang had, but unfortunately, Mole, a little bit late on that invade, wasn't already in transition once Shun started that fight. And now IG, they'll get the kill to the mid lane, but unfortunate. So you can see here, like, look at where Mole is. He's not already moving. Like, this fight's pretty much done. And then, yeah, I mean, Shun has the smite, so I'm not sure why he doesn't just smite the wolf as well. That would have given enough time for Mo to come in. Maybe could have kept him alive if she had already used a lot of his abilities, but either way, kill for Beishang and 1 kill for Mole in the mid lane, which is only going to make Mole more deadly on the roams and make me want Mole to roam even more.
And now he has double buffs. It means Shie's probably looking saying, look, I appreciate that we got a kill back, but this makes my laning phase so much more difficult now to try and deal with, as we see Lucas roaming around, going to find himself a ward for his troubles. And he's going to be able to keep making himself a bit of a nuisance, as they have got some decent vision now, as Kedaya did not know that the earlier roam here from the IG bottom laner did make it so that they had got a ward already in place in the round behind that Dragon Pit, so not going to be able to trade that out just yet.
It's actually, sorry, I'm going to completely shift into something that I've noticed that isn't related to anything you were talking about. But
Is it that Australia is wider than the moon?
no, but that is kind of
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Australia is in fact wide. If you were to like make a planet out of like the diameter of Australia and cut the moon in half, the moon is like 30,000 kilometers or something like that. I'll get the exact things, but I know that it's actually Australia is wider from coast to coast.
That's incredible.
But anyway,
no,
go on.
I just wanted to go into. I may have to hold on to this though because there's a lot of action down this bot side. I wanted to talk about the like use of Cull in the bot lane because something that we saw a lot from Jinxes in the start of the patch was, hey, I'm going to like get control of the wave because I've got the longer range. I'm going to crash fourth wave, reset, pick up Cull, come back to lane. And something about this like Jinx Aphelios matchup is that whoever tends to get ahead in the early stages tends to take over. Like Aphelios just has more upfront damage and dual potential, so if he can get to the Gale Force first, oftentimes he's able to close the gap onto the Jinx and kind of take over from that regard. But it's now become a case of like Aphelios are trying to match this in a lot of situations off their first reset where they go, hey, look, I'll take less damage in lane because my kit just offers more and I'll match the Cull. But it's actually now Wink has kind of gone, okay, well, I'm not going to hit the Cull in this one instead. All I'm going to do is go straight for items and then maybe we can try and match you in the team fighting towards these like early objectives and stuff. So it's actually kind of been this really cool transition and iteration on how people use Cull and the gold advantages that you have in this matchup. And I think it's kind of interesting just with the way the patch has gone that we're seeing these kind of mini ideas and mini metas come through.
And that's what I love about the LPL. As much as we stay on the same patch and it can get a little stale, it's similar to Worlds. It's like you get answers to a lot of different situations. You get answers to a lot of different mini metas. And speaking of which, oh, that hook found Beishong. He gets charmed up as well. And with the resets coming in here for Mole, it means he can get in and get himself out. But the perfect execution is just that. As the rest of WE follow up on top of IG, BiuBiu is here to save the day. Wink shall not be given a respite. And that's going to be 4 kills to 1 to WE.
That is not the start that you wanted, IG. Zika doesn't have the TP, so he's just sitting in the top side, and BiuBiu had already reset. They were like, look, we know that this top lane matchup is going to suck, so instead, we're just going to move BiuBiu down towards this objective, and nobody on IG was aware of it, so just poor timing, and although it looks like a great start to begin things for IG, they just don't have the manpower that they need, and again, grouping it perfectly for that perfect execution means that GA gets so much damage off. You now got 2 kills for the Akali, a kill for the Gwen. BiuBiu has a much simpler time now getting up towards items where he's able to heal through some of the damage from Zika, and GA is very much on the way to being terrifying.
I mean, he's already got himself 100% kill participation, 2-0 and 3, and we talked about how IG, they had the draft, they had themselves all the tools available to them, and again, it's the execution that I feel is just lacking so much, not recognizing that BiuBiu wasn't in the top side, could have been a 5v4, which at this early stage is having those extra ultimates or even those extra little bit of damages is going to be absolutely massive and pivotal to your team taking a fight, and it's just, again, little things like this that I feel like for IG, they just falter so much when it comes to these situations.
It's a big communication difference on IG. Like, you can see in that initial invade from Shun, Mo not really transitioning across, IG not saying, hey, look, where the hell is BiuBiu? We don't know where this Gwen is, and still trying to go towards the dragon. So it definitely feels like it's more so on the communication front from IG. But see if they can right the wrongs, though, as they start to move up towards this mid lane. You've already got the bot push in, so they're looking for the Rift Herald, but you already got Zika and Shun on it. I think at this stage, bot lane just needs to start wandering back down. There we go. So they don't end up losing out too much on this bot side town.
I think the scariest thing right now for IG is who protects Wink? You know, you got a Gwen, a VIego, an Akali, a Leona. Like, if your Nautilus is there, as Kedaya is going to do his second half of his name and die.
Why was he there?
I don't know. I don't know why he's there. This is, I think, I just, yeah, I just, back to my original point, is that, like, you know, if this WE side can get ahead and can get some decent items onto their carries, this, you know, Wink is going to have a very tough time at just surviving and playing.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing for IG is trying to split push. We talked about Mole having control over this mid lane to try and look for roams, and we have basically seen none of it. Now that Xie is starting to press that level 9, he's actually got decent wave clear in and of himself. He's got kill threat on Mole as well, and now it becomes really difficult to try and hold your own in this mid lane. It's kind of where you've got that window of opportunity against the Akali, but I don't know why Kedaya is here. Like, you don't get any more information from having this, like, ward slightly further forward.
You're taking
like,
the dragon as well. Like, the objective that you would set
Yeah.
that ward up for is already gone. Like, it's gonna, your ward's gonna die before the next one.
Now, look, do I think it's going to make a big difference in the grand scheme of things? No. Zika will potentially kill BiuBiu here.
I mean, they're going to try and make
Maybe.
it work. BiuBiu, they have got the Undying range. He flashes away to try and make sure he cannot get the reset. The Heartbreaker down as Zika with the Crescent Guard of Shun keeps his top laner alive as the mid and support of WE try to make this one work. But 2 swift kills. Now IG starting to turn on the gears.
Really good flash from Zika to avoid that CC, and it means that now WE starting to fall apart a little bit on this top side. 2 kills going towards Shun means he'll get his Gourd Drinker, but still going to be Zika kind of even in that top lane. You can see BiuBiu so close with that healing to be able to turn that fight, but just isn't enough. And with that attention on top side, IG push in bot, push in mid, getting some turret plates in their favor as well. So suddenly, what was looking like a very WE favored game, starting to even up for IG.
I mean, yeah, looked at across the board, you're basically able to even up the deficit you had in mid, the deficit you had in bot. You are actually miles ahead in terms of the jungle. It is all of a sudden just turning back in IG's favor, and this is kind of why our expectations coming to this was that this team should be able to kind of roll over WE without, you know, for lack of a better term.
You can see though with Zika just running down BiuBiu here, it's very easy to land the needlework. This flash here, just barely able to get over the mob, but bot side were dying. Well, not dying, he's gonna get the tower. Feels a bit unnecessary with a singular plate there, but may get the tier 2 pushes. Still, look at where WE position on the map. A lot of people trying to help Xie on the side lane split push.
And they can't really dive, or rather it would be very difficult to dive. A Gwen has got the needlework just coming back off of cooldown. Shelly will get her second bop. She has done her job. We salute you. And now they come back in. But yeah, out of nowhere, it's a 1,500 gold lead now for IG as WE, despite having that nice early fight and having a lot of early gold here on top of Xie, he hasn't really gone anywhere or done anything with it.
Yeah, I think the big issue though is like where that gold is situated on IG. Because yes, you'll have. Oh, actually, I don't like this Kraken Slayer from Wink. I kind of agree. There's like a lot of backline pressure. I think Gale Force would have been kind of nice for Wink just to have that own his own bit of peel. But yeah, for IG, it's like the gold is situated on Wink, and maybe that's why the Kraken Slayer's here. He's like, I'm gonna have to carry this one. But like Mole, not in the lead. Zika barely in the lead. Like, it's not enough for him to kind of go like, oh yeah, you know, Zika's gonna take over this game, especially since Xie has been smart enough to like match Zika on this side lane pressure. It's far more difficult for this Tryndamere to kill a Akali than it is for him to kill the Gwen, just because Akali can go invisible for ages, outlast the ultimate on Zika, and then just take him down after that as well. So you can see already Zika giving way more of a wider berth to Xie in this top lane.
It kind of has to. Like you said, he's got a lot of kill pressure. He's got a lot of escapability as well. And I feel like this is just a much better matchup for WE to take at this very moment in time. We got first items being picked up. Of course, you mentioned the Kraken Slayer. On the other side, that Xing has got himself the Gale Force as he stacks up the last few ticks of that cull as well. Divine Sunder has been finished up for Beishong, and you have got the Gourd Drinker here for Shun. So despite a pretty desperate start to the game here from Shun, and he has been able to crawl himself back. Actually has about a 4-camp lead as well, as Dragon spawning in just over 30 seconds. IG look poised to set themselves up to take this objective.
Yeah, it's just that IG shouldn't have been in a situation where Shun's behind. You had 3 winning lanes, should have been able to set yourselves up. Now, yes, they have the control of River, looking for some of these picks. This could be a good time, especially with BiuBiu not really in a position here. He's only just reset. So IG should hold on to this spot. And WE, unless you can kind of pick off Mole to start off this fight, I don't see a world where you can really carry through.
Well, WE are here. They have got a TP on Xie, who should be able to get it unleashed now, so he should be able to move himself forward. As he get the flash in, Mole going to be able to run himself back, though, as Kedaya has to use himself and the Solar Flare defensively, but only to just delay the inevitable. No one really there to kind of back himself up. Mole will go in with the last charge of his Spirit Rush to try and land a charm, but IG easily able to pick up that slight overextension and get themselves a first dragon of the game.
I like the idea from Kedaya, like we just said. Mole was the big issue in this fight, but in that situation, just not able to get the CC train down, and there was nobody really on WE to follow up, so Mole just dashes back. Now you're overextended, and WE find themselves falling flat in that fight. Dragon number 2, not the end of the world going across to IG though, and it is giving Xie good control over these side waves, which honestly favors Xie here in a lot of situations, just with how Zika hasn't really been able to get the ball rolling in this early game.
Yeah, again, like you said, hasn't been able to kind of get his, you know, the oppressive Tryndamere going as much as we possibly can. Rift Herald going to be started, almost certainly going to be taken. Although, as I say that, IG are in the vicinity. I think it'll be too little too late before they actually try and contest it. So yeah, this will be going over to WE, and it's not a million miles away, but we are starting to look at certain players on the side of WE to really bring this home for them, to try and maybe put IG under a little bit more pressure. People like Xie on this Akali is going to be working up towards that second item very, very soon. And that's going to be the big issue here for the side of IG. If they can keep Wink alive, it should be an easy fight for them front to back, but it's all about keeping their carries alive.
Yeah, and I mean, Mole, as you can see, going to be fairly good at doing that himself, so shouldn't have too much of an issue. I think the big problem that I have for IG, though, is kind of the decision making on how they're building. So you're looking at Zika, who, because he's fallen behind now, has gone for the Gale Force. Hopebreaker is an insane item against this double AP solo laner, because you just get so much value out of the buffed up cannon
passive,
and
yeah.
also against someone like Akali who wants to burst you out, against someone like BiuBiu who has kind of like that big combo in the ultimate. The Hopebreaker giving you all those resistances is just great. But because he's gone for the Gale Force, it now feels like IG are going to be playing more for team fight, which is already where I give the edge to WE. And as you say, like, IG want to try and keep their backline alive. But if you have to try and manage against Xie, who's just running into the mix, BiuBiu, who's being able to fire off all these needleworks across multiple people, your team fighting isn't as strong. So for IG, poor early decision making now costing them, with zero interaction between their mid jungle that, well, went well. Zika not in control of these side lanes now. There's just so many pieces of the puzzle here that IG aren't playing.
Yeah, and I think the big thing when you talk about items as well is that, is it the end of the world? No, but it does delay power spikes. That's the big thing that you want to try and hit on there, is that this delays you in these certain situations. It means you have to try and give up this bot wave because you just cannot contest it whatsoever. You have a Gale Force, you are super, super squishy. Luke is going to walk away here as Wink actually took a fair, decent trade on top of him, so he has to back away. And again, look at these small little increments. You can't defend bot, therefore you lose pressure in mid, meaning you actually lose out on so much around the map. And Zika, he's popped the Undying Rage and the Ghost. They're going to get 3 towers from 1. This is huge for WE.
Yeah, this is massive, and alarm bells going off for IG and their chances potentially at playoffs here. They would have really liked that 2-0, because game difference in a lot of the scenarios that we're looking at where IG make playoffs make the difference. And WE, despite the gold lead, are firmly in control. They're the ones holding the map advantage. They're the one with control of the state. And also just GA, well, might get caught out here.
Well, he's in the Shroud, in the Zhonya's, now in the Death Realm. Well, the Realm of Death. Death Realm is exclusive to Mordekaiser, and that's going to be a pretty easy pickup there. And WE, we were just praising you, and that's probably why they ended up losing that little bit. They couldn't have too much positivity going over to them.
Didn't need to commit the TP from BiuBiu. I mean, Xie going down sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Like, having that ability to try and play off through side lanes is much more important. Now you can see Zika pushing in top side. I'd actually like to see Zika, like, push this in, then rotate mid with the pressure from Wink, but Lucas should just in time make it there as well. You could potentially look for, like, a mid lane push or mid lane dive, but Shun is resetting, so not going to get that opportunity.
And we're just going to have a bit of a lull in the game. 50 seconds till Dragon spawns. Both teams on a Dragon apiece. And this is just a I try not to sound too disinterested because obviously this is still a very important series for IG, but it does get a little bit disheartening when you have series like EDG versus RNG and you're like, oh my god, like this is insane, this is amazing. Hell, even the latest JDG V5 series was an absolute cracker, and it's our top teams are that. They are top teams, and then you gotta come down the side. It's just like little small mistakes from these players and these teams that just feel like are so easily fixed that just kind of, you know, you just want them to do better. You want them to be better.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you've got, like, Lyric's favorite player, Mole, Wink. Just about able to get away from that lockdown.
Just about. We're going to have a bit of a reset here as BiuBiu goes into the mist as Shun isolated away from his team. He needs to be careful. There is no tower here as he gets jumped on by the solo laners here of WE, and now a fight can really ensue. There's 2 quick kills as Mole and Shun are dead. Zika trying to do what he can on the backside, but Wink is already fallen. Zika will lose his immortality and he will die. That's going to be 4 kills to none in favor of WE. IG, what is happening? You are just so disjointed, so disconnected.
But they don't have a team fighting composition. Like, why are they playing as a 5-man unit towards a second dragon? Like, you could go and take tier 2 at top side. You could have gone and got position on Baron. Make sure that you never have to actually go up and try and fight against WE. But now you're in a position where, because of the early mess-ups, Xie, too strong for Zika to deal with a side lane. Even poor itemization from Zika, in my opinion. BiuBiu is totally fine to just stick with the rest of his team because he's going to be fine in team fights. The whole part has just lost its wheels, and IG really didn't even realize that, you know, that this was going to be an issue in the first place. They just didn't understand what they're supposed to do this game.
I mean, like, you don't have a teleport, you don't have any real way of contesting all these different things. You've lost now a Baron off of spawn. I don't even know if you want to try and fight this. I don't even know if you want to try and contest this. IG, run away, leave. You cannot deal with this. WE own this entire map, and you have to respect that.
No cleanse! No cleanse!
Oh, no cleanse! He flashes down as we get Kedaya on the backside. Xie going in with the perfect execution. May's gone just a little bit too far. He has. Lucas will survive just about as is Aphelios now flashing forward. Xing feeling confident. Dragon is still yet to be taken, but IG are falling apart right now, Dagda. I don't know what else to say.
It's a 2-for-1, and Xie down means that you've got to have BiuBiu reset to try and match this push on top side. You'll be able to do just that, because Zika was still pushing. So, I know, trying to rush Dragon 4 versus 5. I don't understand the thought process from IG. Especially when you're like, hey, look, this is a team that can play through sides. You want to start cross-mapping. You don't have to fight for these dragons, but for whatever reason, IG are just getting the global taunt towards fighting WE every time.
Yeah, and this was the start of it. Like you said, you're just fighting into a team fight, which you don't really have position on it. You're also separated. It's just, it feels like they know they don't have a team fight composition, but they're forcing themselves into it. That's just how it kind of feels to me right now. And you lose so much off of this as well. It's 40, you know, it's 41,000 to 39, so it's only a 2,000 gold lead. It's not the worst in the world, but we talked about the late game scaling of WE. We talked about how much harder this game becomes for IG if the Gwen, the VIego, and the Akali can get those 2.5 items. And guess what? The Akali just hit.
It's not looking good for IG here, and especially as we kind of talk about like game difference being so important. Like, the reason, so if they lose this series, they can only get to 7 wins. And FPX or OMG are guaranteed to hit 7 wins because they end up facing off against each other. You've also got like the head-to-head advantage for FPX over IG. You're still looking at maybe hoping that they don't pick up any other wins. Rare Adam as well should be able to pick up a win. It's just, you're setting yourself in such a bad spot.
You really, really are, and as we see now, more fights coming out as they try and defend against this Baron buff, which is still ticking for another 20 seconds. Shun, though, that Crescent Guard's going to guard absolutely nothing. They go in onto Wink. He's dead. Tower goes down. We do see Xie going golden for a second, and he gets out alive. Are you serious right now, IG? You can't even kill off the 1 HP Akali, and it's all gone to crap. Nothing is left. They're going to, honestly, they could end the game right here, right now. They have the minion wave.
Yeah, WE have done it. We said that we wanted to see them play for pride, and they have stepped up massively. WE here, gonna take game number 1.
What an unbelievably just one-sided win from WE, and it wasn't like they absolutely played them off the map. This was just plain and simple IG making massive errors.
It's just not playing through any of the parts of the map where they were strong. Like, don't get me wrong, WE did a really good job to try and like answer back, but see Shun go for this initial engage. Mole, despite having push, isn't even leaning over towards the side that Shun is invading, so he's then late to the party. You actually see the Akali who's shoved under tower, not like the one that gets to the play first. You're then looking at, you know, the ability for Mo to try and look for these roams. Mo is just stuck in the mid lane. Shun is trying to go for a dragon that BiuBiu just walks up to, and you've got a numbers advantage. It just felt like nothing was being used from the advantage that IG had. We talked about, look, you've got a slow push a bot, maybe you look for a dive and bot tower. They didn't go for that. They just did nothing. And as we said at the start of the game, if WE got to a point where they could just scale into it, they were going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what happened. They got hyper-accelerated. The Akali, the VIego, the Gwen, even the Aphelios, which we know 200 years and late-game scaling. It's not much else you can really do about it. And again, this is kind of the big issues we've had with IG, the identity. And they had an identity coming into this game. They just didn't know what it was. They didn't know how to work around it, how to play around it. And it just felt like even the positives we have for IG, which is their early game, just fell apart. I don't even know what happened.
It doesn't make sense to me at all. Again, identity crisis for IG. But let's start looking at WE. The Xie coming in, I thought he had a great game. This Akali worked out really well. Getting that early kill definitely gave him a lot of control here against Mo, which helped out substantially. And then in teamfight, Xie was a monster. This Akali was incredible. Like, consistently getting like multi-man perfect executions, consistently threatening Wink in the backline. And this is why, again, we said for the Kraken Slayer build, doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. You need the Gale Force to kind of reposition to get away from Xie, but Wink was just under so much duress this whole time thanks to the way that Xie played. Just couldn't get away.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. We mentioned it multiple times. If those champions can get onto Wink, Wink can't be a Jinx. Wink can't do the late game carry thing that we know this Jinx can do. And sadly, we'll be adding to the loss column of Jinx worldwide, you know, in terms of global win rate. But this is honestly such a scary moment for IG, because even though if they lose today, they're not technically out of playoffs, but then they need to win all 3 games, and even then they need the likes of OMG or Rare Adam to lose and FPX, to be perfectly honest, to lose all the rest of their games, and even then there's a chance they might not be able to get into there. It's such a precarious situation to be in that honestly you're putting your faith into the, you know, the miracle run effectively.
Well, look, I'm not gonna lie. Bit harsh, but I don't know if I want to see this IG in playoffs. Like, this is a team that they've kind of lost the early game aggression that we saw with Yuekai being able to play off through side lanes. They've lost the ability that kind of made them strong, like to actually play this 1-3-1, and their team fighting is looking all over the place. And if you're gonna play team fighting, well, then pick a team fighting composition. Don't go for a composition that has a Tryndamere in the top side that's looking to split push. Don't go for the like Ghost and the Flash. Like, actually play for a team fight, which is not what IG are doing.